Hello, hello, hello. You hear the music? It's been one full week. But we're back. Conversations That Matter with your boy Steve, real name no gimmicks, here on the Hold Up TV. And tonight I am so grateful to have you all here. I'm so grateful to have this opportunity, and I'm thankful for everyone tuning in. Tonight I'll be joined by Spoon Pioneer, all around amazing person, and now green room extraordinaire. Let me go ahead and bring in my guest. Y'all know her as Lainey, but I just call her Awesome. Here she is in the green room, the place to be. Lainey O, how are you doing this evening?
I am well, and how are you?
I'm doing really good. This has been a long time coming. I'm happy that you were able to make time in your schedule for me. Shout out to everyone watching on Twitch and YouTube. And of course, most importantly, shout out to all the beautiful people in Green Room. Lainey
Hello.
O. How the heck are you?
I'm good. I'm really good. I'm nervous. I'm also like sitting here thinking to myself that I'm debuting my new braces, which is great.
Nice.
So not me being nervous being on Twitch. I don't like video, so this is great.
You know what though? I didn't know you got new braces, and I couldn't tell by the way you're speaking. So that means yet again you're winning in life. No need to be nervous. I say this to all my guests just to make them feel comfortable. You fell for it. This is your exposed video. I'm going to prove that you're a hypocrite tonight, and it's going to be on YouTube forever. I'm joking, Lainey.
Oh shit.
So I just want to thank you first and foremost. You are someone that I'm just going to keep it 100 with you. Whenever you're in a chat, whenever you're doing a live, always bring so much love in your efforts. Even when you say it's just chilling stream, I can feel the professionalism, and I can honestly feel the care you have for people and the way you engage your audience. So again, thank you for coming on. So Conversations That Matter is the show where I allow people to share their journey, their story with us uninterrupted. And I want to start with that. Let's start with, who the hell are you? Where'd you come from? Where'd you grow up? Just tell us everything.
So my name is Lainey. I actually go by my middle name. I am born and raised in a little town in New Jersey. I don't even know how my journey started with streaming. I think it was COVID. I felt like I was stuck at home watching too much television and needed to like go out there and find my kind of people. And I did that through streaming.
Okay. So Spoon, let's start there.
Well, Spoon.
Well, before we get to Spoon, and I'm sure Mantis is already screaming in the chat like, oh, Spoon! But so let's talk about how you landed on Spoon.
So the funny thing is that I didn't want to download Spoon. I didn't want to download TikTok, but of course, you jump on that bandwagon, you go on TikTok, and I started seeing all of these ads for Spoon, and I'm like, that seems like weird. The name is weird. The vibe is weird. The ads are weird. This seems like a dating app. I'm married. I'm not doing it. And then one day I think that I saw an ad, and it was like, it kind of geared towards like, no, this isn't a dating app. And I'm like, all right, well, maybe I'll try this out. It looks kind of cool.
Right.
So I did download Spoon, and I actually, like, right off the bat met a really cool group of people who I'm still friends with today. And I didn't think that I wanted to be a streamer. I thought I was just going to be a listener. I didn't really get the hype behind streaming. And these people were like, nah, man, you're funny. Like, you got to start streaming. And I'm like, all right, I guess I'll do this. And I kind of just took off straight away. It was a humbling experience for sure. Mm-hmm. I started my streaming with a lot of hype streams. You come in, I'd read the chat. This was before like there was even like microphones that you could like call-ins.
Right.
Yeah, Logan, I'm married. Married, 8 7 years. 7 years.
Hey,
February 9th.
congratulations.
Thank you so much. So yeah, but I didn't think anything of it, and then all of a sudden I just like I started streaming. I started doing these hype streams, and then I started doing mental health streams, which was really hard on my mental health. But it was something that I really enjoyed doing, and then finding people who really needed it and needed love and my empathy. And that started taking off. And then I did a really cool stream where it was talking about me. I talked a lot about myself and told my story and told where I came from and what, the traumas that were in my life and things like that. And I started singing. And now I can't sing anymore, which really sucks.
Wait. Why can't you sing anymore?
For now, it's only 2 years, guys. I don't think I'm going to be able to sing for like 2 years. They've got, I'm telling you, these braces are really, I'm trying not to curse on your life. Am I good to curse?
No, yeah, you can curse. Go ahead. Don't worry. This is an adult stream.
Okay. Well, I just don't want to like devalue your YouTube either, because I'm a cursor. I'm from New Jersey. That's all we do is curse.
It's all right. I'm so far down on YouTube's algorithm. They don't even. They're like, wait, hold up.
Come on now. You're not that far down. Let's be honest.
Very far. They're like, well, if we can clip them, we'll clip them. But if we can't find them, we can't find them. Boy, so here's the thing. I came late to Spoon, right? So I was playing catch up, like a lot of people. So let me tell you about the first time I experienced who you were or even heard of you. It was when they were doing the Spoon Olympics, right? And
God.
Spoon is hosting. If you're new, shout out to anyone catching the recap, anyone catching the audio only on Anchor. But my good friend, the Fat Mantis, the voice of the Fat Mantis, was one of the contestants for the Spoon Olympics, which was a way for Spoon to garner attention for Choice or other streamers, partners, and to get some money for themselves. So the way you won the Spoon Olympics was by getting the most donations, likes, etc. And talk about big Willie style. I know no one uses that term anymore, but Mantis looked like he was doing good. Actually, no, Mantis was pathetic. He was losing in life as usual. And then, like a beautiful ray of sunshine, I see this person come into the stream, and everyone's like, Lainey. And you're like, hi, guys. I know I've been away for a while, but bam, you just blessed Mantis. And that was my first exposure. That's how I got to know you. And then I started talking to Mantis about you, and he was like, oh, yeah, she used to do variety streams, comedic streams, sing-along streams back in the day on Spoon, and she was wildly popular. And that became more and more evident as I kept socializing in rooms, and I would see you in there. And then I heard you sing for the first time, and I was completely blown away.
Oh, thank you.
Let's go back. Tell me about, and I want you to get specific, the very first stream you did on Spoon.
Oh God. The very first stream I did on Spoon, I think I may have been drunk. No, I'm kidding. Actually, I think I've done multiple drunk streams. I've definitely doxed myself, but the first stream I did, I was drunk a lot. Yeah. The first stream I did, I think I just went in and started like being my hyper self. Like, I don't think you know how hyper I can be. And I'm like a speed reader and a speed talker.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say speed read, like I would read the entire chat, but not just read, I would talk to the chat. So, and that was new to Spoon, kind of like that people were talking, but they weren't literally with everybody.
Right.
And I was just at auctioneer. Yeah. Thank you, Courtney. But like every comment that would come in, I would say something. And of course, those stupid little funny quips that I have, I don't know where they come from. I just start talking and like stupid shit comes out of my mouth. And that was the first stream I had.
So it was literally a stream of consciousness where you're just letting off.
Yeah, I can't do that anymore though. I'm telling you. At the very end of it, I started dipping. I'm like, I can't read every comment, guys. Like the chat would never go too fast for me until like my mental capacity just couldn't do it anymore.
No, it can be hard to engage sometimes, like with everyone, especially. So I remember my first stream on Spoon, and one person showed up, and I was okay with no one being there at first. But when that first person showed up, and they're like, what's up? I'm like, I don't know, man. What's up with you? You coming
Yeah.
to my stream?
So I don't feel bad. Like, I don't want to say I feel bad, but like I never experienced that.
Mm,
I don't know if it was because I listened first, and I actually came in when it just came out of bed, brand new to the universe, I guess,
right.
or the spooniverse as we used to call it. Um, but like I never experienced Jen coming into my stream. Like off the bat, I sound so narcissistic right now, but I was really popular.
No, that's totally
Doesn't hurt
cool.
that I guess I take a pretty picture, but like it was cool. It was really cool. Yeah.
So wait, so being that popular that quick and being, I mean, I think it's more so that you're very personable, right? People feel engaged with you and you're engaging with them, especially if you're reading every comment. But
Yeah.
when was the exact moment for you where it just wasn't about going on this app to kind of hang out, where you're like, hey, like when did it become a craft for you? Because I have heard you stream before, and there is a level of professionalism there that's
Thank you.
well above average. When would you say that moment or that shift was?
Honestly, I think it was when I hit my first 1K. When I hit my first K, I was like, this is so when I hit 100, I cried like a
Wow.
baby.
Wow.
Because it was humbling to me. I was not a very well liked person in high school. I was like the weird kid who always just kind of did her own thing. I never conformed to society, and I think that hurt me.
Mhm.
No, it didn't. I'm sorry. It hurt me growing up and having friends, but it didn't hurt me as a person because
Right.
I love the fact that I never conformed. But going on to a platform and really being able to reach people and like hit their souls, really hit
Mhm.
their souls. It was like, oh wow, this is important what I'm doing. This isn't just something that I do for me. This is something that I'm doing for other people. I'm keeping people happy and I'm keeping people alive. And that was really, that hit a nerve. It hit hard. It hit hard.
Yeah, because you're streaming at the height of Spoon, I believe, or at least what I've heard was the height of Spoon, and it's during high COVID. And I just want to ask that question: what were those times like for you personally? You've been married for 7 years, so tell us about COVID and how you and your husband dealt with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it helped our relationship. My house is super tiny. Like, I wish I was a rich bitch, but I'm not. So my house is really small, so there's not a lot of spaces that we can kind of go and disappear from each other.
Right.
But he was amped about it. He was amped about it. Like I have a desk, I have a setup, I have a beautiful microphone. Like he set me up for this. He's
Wow.
like, you like this, do it, enjoy it. And then I started seeing that it kind of was affecting our relationship because I was doing it so much. And I'm
Right.
like, okay, now I need to step back. But yeah, through COVID, it did, I think it helped us because it was like space away, but we were still in the same space.
Okay.
So it was good. It was a good thing that was like, okay, I'm still here. I'm, we're still sitting on the couch together, but I'm going to go stream. Okay, have fun.
Right.
And he
Yeah.
could play his video games, so he loved that.
Like, go, babe, go be artistic, go save lives.
Enjoy it.
Now, if I have it correct, because I did my research on you, went back to listen to some stuff that some rooms we were both in together. Your day job prior to blowing up and becoming the world's most famous audio streamer was you were a bartender, correct?
I am. I still technically currently I'm a bartender. Yes.
Okay. Now here's the serious part of the interview, Lainey. I'm gonna make you cry a little bit. What was the shutdown? What was the shutdown like for you? Because I know a lot of people were so fearful. I remember being extremely fearful for so many different reasons. What was that like for you? Not just streaming, but having to like step away from work. I assume your establishment got closed like so many others.
You know what? I was super blessed.
Oh, wow.
My establishment, we only closed down. So we're seasonal anyway.
Mhm.
So we generally would stay closed from the months of mid-December into March, April, we would officially open.
Okay.
So the first year, luckily I did find Spoon, and I have to say that it wasn't, I couldn't pay my bills off of what I was making on Spoon, but I did do pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
Which I was very lucky with that too. And then so we were supposed to go back to work, and all of a sudden they're like, well, we can't do that, we're getting shut down. And we're like, oh crap. Like, and we're all sitting here thinking, I just lost my job, what the hell am I supposed to do? My unemployment's about to be up, because a lot of people don't realize that seasonal workers, we take our unemployment on the off seasons, and once we're out, we're out. So we're sitting there like thinking, oh my God, we're not going to be making any money. How are we going to do this? But we were very blessed. New Jersey decided to allow outside seating. They allowed us to have our outside dining, and our bar actually has some outside seating as well. So we got away with having we had almost a full bar.
Oh, wow.
Of course, yeah, we had to space people. We weren't allowed to have 5 deep, which sucked and hurt my pockets. But at the end of the day, we were really lucky.
Wow. Yeah, no, that is a true blessing. That is an extreme blessing. So
go Jersey. Jersey did one thing right.
Listen. Chris Christie may be the greatest governor that ever existed. I'm joking. Chris Christie is one of the strangest people to ever exist.
Chris Christie with his freaking COVID, he's sitting on the goddamn beach like, my shit don't stink. I'm like, what?
He's like, I'm not worried about this at all. It should blow over. It should be fine.
Yeah, we're totally fine.
So I know that typically, and we'll get back into the Spoon stuff, because I have some other questions I want to ask you. I know typically when people ask you to come on for an interview, there is one topic they usually want you to speak about in particular, but we're not going to talk about that topic at all tonight. There's always this one topic they want to bring up, and I feel like you've addressed it ad nauseum, so there's no reason to bring it up. So I just wanted to put everyone at ease with that. What I do want to point out is, Lainey, I've seen some people on Spoon that are constantly stuck in muck and mire and drama, and there's all types of catastrophes happening all the time. You were never one of those people that was caught up in all of that, like the high school portion of it. How were you able to duck and dodge so efficiently?
You know what the funny thing is that I think I stayed out of the drama because everybody respected me. God, I sound so narcissistic. me. But I hate to say it's true. Like, when people had drama, both sides would tend to come to me and ask me to kind of mediate the drama.
Right.
And in doing so, it kept me out of the drama. It was like, okay, yeah, like, I think, listen, I'm a straight up person. If I think you're fucked up, you're fucked up. Like, I'm going to tell you that you're not doing it right.
Right.
So, but yeah, no, I never had anybody come at me sideways. I never had anybody like sit there and say, oh my God, let's cancel Lainey in a serious way. Let's cancel Lainey. Of course, they always wanted to do it fakely. But yeah, I think that I just stayed away from the drama because, like, I was a respectful person too. If I would, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I would totally go into those streams. They were fun. They were toxic, but they were fun. And I'm not gonna lie, I would sit there and I would talk too. I wouldn't keep my mouth shut. But Mantis with the mango. But yeah, I don't know. In all honesty, I don't know how I didn't have any drama. I think it's because people respected me.
I think it's definitely because people respected you, but you don't present an aura where you're like, hey, I want to get in beyond this more than the entertainment value. Like, yeah, let's have some fun. Let's have some giggles and stream and stuff like that. And the reason I bring that up is because we're going to talk about a subject that's, sensitive for some people, but you've made the move to Green Room, right? I know that you had said in a few lives that you were kind of on the fence about it. And then you did about a 4-hour stream a couple of weeks ago, which was extremely entertaining, by the way.
Thank
you.
I
was shoveling snow for the majority of that stream, so it was a godsend.
Thank you for that.
No problem. It's the truth. It's an easy compliment to give. Let's talk about, in your estimation, what was the decline in the community and the platform of Spoon? What went wrong there?
So what you don't know is that they actually did 2 Spoon Olympics,
Oh,
and
okay.
I was involved in the first one. And I saw Spoon take a big hit with that, because they wanted to sit there and have us basically beg you to pay us for our entertainment, and they wanted us to, when they started having their streamers beg their listeners to pay them, that's when it started to plummet.
Okay. Okay.
I think the Spoon Olympics hurt. Then of course there was the pedophile talks, which
Right.
I did immerse myself in. Actually, those were, and that's the sad part too, is that like I sit there and I'm like, four of my best viewed streams were about drama, and that's upsetting. That's upsetting.
Wait, can
But
you?
hey, drama sells.
Yeah, it does. Can you qualify that for us, and don't worry about the YouTube algorithm or anything like that. When you say the pedophile streams, was this in regards to a controversy? What are you talking about there?
Oh yeah, this was in regards to a huge controversy. So for a while there, I was basically part of a group where we were sussing out susses,
Sussies.
the sussies. We were sussing people out of who was a potential threat to our child-based listeners. I know a few people got a lot of people kicked off because of what they were doing. Private conversations with kids that were 16, and these men are like in their 40s. There were people who admitted to me that they were talking to children when they were
Wow.
way over the age. And I actually helped get people kicked off of the platform. So that, I think that hurt Spoon a lot. That was like if we're just, and it almost seemed like Spoon was condoning it. Now I don't think that they really were, but it seemed like they just kind of wanted to sweep it under the rug and
Right.
kind of keep it hush hush. So that I think hurt Spoon a lot. I think that hurt Spoon a lot, because we were losing a lot of and unfortunately you could tell that these people were groomers too, because they would come in and they would drop massive amount of money on these young kids, and it was like, oh, okay, this is bad. It's bad.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, and I think it stopped for a little bit. It stopped for a while. But there's, I hate to say it, but social media is a scary bird for young kids. It's scary.
No, it is. It is extremely scary, and I'm glad that there were people with conscience that were there that were willing to step into that, because true, we may not have all been making great money on Spoon, but we were making money, right? And some people will protect that vested interest more than anything else. And just to hear you say that the group you were a part of was willing to go through that. I know it caused you in particular a great deal of, don't ask me how I know, it caused you a lot of anxiety and anger to have to deal with some of those things, and I respect you entirely.
Damn, you like do your research, don't you?
Yes. Let's talk about the Spoon break. So you took a break for about what, 3-4 months?
So before that, it took a really big toll on me. So I've taken quite a few breaks. And actually I'm still technically in one, in my personal opinion.
Okay.
Because I don't want to sit here and say that I don't love streaming. I absolutely adore it. But I did find that I had to protect my psyche.
Okay.
And when I was in this group, it was a beautiful thing. It was a great group. It was a great group of people. But to see the text messages that were going behind the scenes, and to see what was happening, it really turned me off. And it was like, Jesus, if I had a kid that age, I would never want them in this.
Wow.
And then it started getting a little weird, because they were kind of, I have nothing against the group. I think that some of their tactics were messed up. They started kind of dragging kids in and asking them to be bait, basically.
Wow.
And that's when I stepped back from the group and I said, you know what? I can't do this. This isn't good for my psyche. I don't think what you're doing is right. We're trying to protect kids, and now we're putting them in the line of fire. We're not the FBI.
Right.
Two, like, these aren't our children. Like, we're putting them in danger. They're not ours.
Wow.
Yeah, so I backed up. I backed away from that, and yeah, I took a break. I took a pretty big break. I took about 3 weeks the first time and came back, and actually that's when Mantis and I met. He came into like my first stream back from this break, and I was doing I was doing an advice stream, which was great. I loved it. But then this girl comes in and she starts talking about her just awful
I heard
things.
about this. Yeah.
Yeah. Awful things. And I'm just like, holy shit, I just came back from a break. I just came back from a break. But let's talk this girl down. James, why are you confused? So yeah, so I came back from this break. I did this really great advice stream. Everything was going good. And it was actually like supposed to be like a comical advice stream where I'm kind of giving you bad advice, but good advice at the same time. And this girl comes up and she starts talking about all of her issues. And I'm just like, oh, this just got real. So
Wow.
I talked her down, talked the group down, had a really good conversation, made this girl feel, valid again. And then I took a break again. And
how long,
like,
how long
shit.
was that second break?
That second break was about another 2 to 3 weeks. And then this last break has been the longest. And it wasn't necessarily about my mental. Last summer, my God, I got my ass pummeled at work. And I just couldn't bring myself to mentally stream. I was working like 70+ hour weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was the biggest break. And then I just haven't like really found, it's not that I haven't found time. I feel like I'm still trying to recover from the summer.
Let me say something. I want to speak to you on that. Kudos again, right? Full-time worker, full-time wife, full-time human being. Obviously, you have your own needs. Your husband have your own needs, and then you guys have your needs as a couple. And you're doing all these things. Your talent level, though, even as you're speaking, because I wasn't in that stream, but I've come into other streams, and you've always come across as one of those old school radio personalities that it was like an advice line. People are calling in, and I would always imagine like this theme song, like, "Hey, give Lainey a call on it 1-800 ding 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 ding, ding," and people call up. And you took that second break and you came back, and I know you're in a bit of flux right now, but I'll say it on air publicly. Green Room will be much the richer when Lainey is done healing and doing her process, because you really do bring a lot of care and joy to the platform. But that's enough about your ego, because you've obviously been blessed. You didn't lose your job during COVID. You were popular the minute you stepped on Spoon. Let's talk about the mystery man, your husband.
Oh God.
the man shrouded in mystery. Where did you meet?
So we actually met at work. Well, okay, wait. Technically we met in a bar. Yeah, okay. So technically we met in a bar, but I didn't realize that we actually worked together.
Right.
He was a morning chef. I was an afternoon waitress. I walked into a bar with some of my fellow serving staff and happened to see him across the way talking with a friend of mine. And I was like, oh, hi. Dressed like Kate May. I gotta tell you, oh shit, I just doxed myself. This is what I do. The little town that I live in New Jersey, we're gonna bleep that out. The little town that I live in New Jersey, we don't have dapper people. Like, people literally will walk out of their house in their pajamas and go to the store. Like, it's just we're not classy people. But this guy, he was dressed like he had slacks on and he had like this vest and a tie, and I'm like, what the fuck? Where did you come from? He was GQ. And I don't know. I kind of knew. I was like, oh, that's the boy. That's the boy I'm going to marry. And there we are, 7 years later. 7 years later. Yeah.
So I remember when I first wanted to ask you on the show and have you come on, we were talking about a pretty weighty situation. I believe we were talking about race relations in America, and your husband had come up, and you were relating some of his experiences. You want to tell the listening audience where he's from and
Yeah, absolutely. So my husband is from South Africa. He is a South African man who grew up in the apartheid. So especially when the Black Lives, I'm not saying, Black Lives Matter is always going to be a huge movement that needs to happen. Um, yeah. I'll get into that in another stream.
yeah.
Yeah, but I did a live with him one night, and we talked about the apartheid in South Africa. Now, unfortunately, he doxed us,
Right.
told everybody my full real name, told everybody his full real name. So I wasn't able to save that live, and I was really, really bummed about it. It was a great live. And yeah, we talked a lot about it, talked a lot about the apartheid, Black Lives Matter, what was going on in America, what was going on in South Africa.
For the people that don't know, would you explain to them what apartheid is? Or you don't have to give like the full definition, historical context, but what that time frame was? Because I think I've brought it up a few times when we've talked about, the everything that happened after George Floyd being killed and the Ahmaud Arbery thing, and we've talked about in the historical context of America, but I don't think people know that this thing was happening in Africa and how many people suffered through it. Do you want to share some of his
Yeah.
experiences and what it is?
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, I'll get into a little bit of the history of it because that's just the person that I am. I love history. But basically, America went through this in the '60s. It was when we were trying to segregate and bring, blacks and whites together. But it was also what we didn't realize was happening. It was happening in the '80s, the '90s, and just recently stopped in South Africa.
Right.
And this was when it was illegal to marry a black woman, black man. It was illegal to have children with the black culture and race. It was just, it was basically the segregation in South Africa.
Right. And your husband grew up during these times, and this was for folks that don't understand. This was a dangerous time. We're talking about a time where people, if you were found guilty of doing something like that, you can get disappeared by the
Yeah.
secret police, or you can get grabbed up. Trevor Noah talks about his experience growing up, where his dad had to walk in front of his mother, and his mother had to walk in front of him because he was he's a mixed race child. And how did that impact your husband overall? Like, how has he dealt with that? And
Yeah, for sure.
how you had to deal with it being married to him? Like, I'm sure there's trauma and stuff there as well.
There is. So my husband actually is he is mixed.
Okay.
And I hate to say this, but he was lucky enough to have two mixed parents.
Okay.
So they were able to, be together
Right.
legally. But the cool, that's not cool. It's not cool. It's actually heartbreaking, but it's interesting history. Let's say that. I don't mean cool as in a cool way. I mean it as an interesting. Yeah, I'm nervous.
You're doing great. No, you stop it.
Anyway, so he had an uncle. So in this time, they would separate families. If you were more white passing, you would go to a white community. If you were more black passing, you would go to a black community. So thank you for not canceling me, guys. So his father actually had a brother who was completely split from the family and taken to the white community because he was white passing.
Wow.
Yeah. So taken away from the family, taken away from everything, and yeah, raised by a white family. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's intense. And I remember the talk. So the night I decided to ask you, you were talking about that. And you didn't share that much, but you were just sharing. I could hear it in your voice. You were sharing about the experience that your husband had, but you being his wife, I could hear that you were also having the experience, because I know I'm married to a great woman as well. And you women, our lovely wives take on a lot of our traumas as men and deal with it appropriately in the best way they know how. What was that process like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I come from a very white town. So I never I never expected to feel judged for marrying my husband, or not safe for marrying my husband. But I've had a few experiences with that. Also, of course, I've held on to my husband's trauma, but I hold on to everybody's trauma. But the first time we went out of state together, I had a pretty interesting experience. He drove. He likes to drive. He's always the driver, which I love. I'm like, yes, no problem. I'll sleep in the car. And I was in the passenger seat, and I happened to be with him and his friend, who is also mixed. And we got pulled over, not even 2 seconds away from my house. Like, I'm not even kidding you. 2 seconds away from my house, we get pulled over. The cop stops us and straight up comes to the window, will not talk to my husband, looks me dead in the eye and says, "Are you okay, ma'am?" Like, what do you mean, am I okay? Like, I'm with my boyfriend and my friends. We're going to Philly. "Are you sure, ma'am? I know your father, and this car is registered to you." I said, "Yeah, this car is mine. This is my boyfriend, and we're okay." And that was the first time I ever experienced anything like that. Because of course he never said, because your husband or your boyfriend is black, that I'm pulling you over, but you could feel it.
Right.
And that was the first time I ever had experienced anything like that. And I'm like, oh, wow. So this is like, of course, it's real, but you don't expect it to happen, especially in your small town.
Right.
But it happened. And then we moved to Florida, and it happened again. And this time I almost beat the bitch up. But
for the listening audience, please don't put your hands on the cops. I want you guys to all make it home. Don't
she wasn't a cop. She wasn't a cop.
Good,
She was an elderly lady.
Oh. Those senior citizens are dangerous.
Oh my God. This woman kept ramming her cart into the back of Daryl, my husband. And I'm like, yo, like, I finally turned, and he's like the passive one. He's like, just let it go. It's fine. And I'm sitting here like, I have a mouth. I'm a Jersey girl. We have a mouth. And I'm sitting here like, no, man, I want to tell this woman off. I don't care if she's 90. Like, let me at her. She's probably like 90. But I wanted to so bad. I didn't, but whatever. But yeah, and then you still feel it. I still feel it in South Africa too. So we actually went to a restaurant. Now South Africa, they're still kind of working their way into a better system, and honestly, I think they're doing it better than America is.
Oh, okay.
Like, I do. I really do. I think that they have progressed where we have not. And there's less of a gap in South Africa, but you still do feel it.
Right.
But even like the towns that used to be for the black communities, and I hate to say, so there's a word that I'm afraid to use, but they call, yeah.
Yeah, it is. They use it in a different context.
They use it, thank you. Yeah. And I appreciate that, because they use it in a very different context. And this is what my husband's culture is called. They're called coloreds.
Right.
But I know that in America, it's a disrespectful term to use. So of course I try to steer clear of it.
Right.
But in this context, the colored communities are actually becoming more mingled with white.
Okay.
And vice versa. You're seeing a lot of the black and colored communities moving into a white neighborhood. So actually that's a funny story too. My brother-in-law moved into a white neighborhood, and one of his neighbors said, "Oh, are you the gardener?"
See. Yeah.
And my brother-in-law, being the person that he is, was very graceful and was like, "Yeah, I'm the gardener."
Well, I'm not your gardener. I'm not your gardener.
I'm not your gardener. I'm my own. Yeah. America is so disgusted by blackness that they hate any word that reminds them that it exists. No, I think that I don't want. Listen, I'm okay using the word because I'm used to using the word with my husband, but I know that it is a word that is considered disrespectful towards the black community. So I don't right. I don't like, I won't use the N word. I don't ever want to use a word that is not meant for me to use.
It's interesting because the word colored, like historically in America, so there were a few different identifiers for the African American community. You know, obviously it started with Negro. Colored was around the same era. Then we went to Afro American. Then we have landed at African American, and now some people are actually detaching themselves. Not all, but some people are attaching themselves from anything to do with the continent of Africa, and they simply want to be referred to as Black Americans. That's kind of a newer movement in the comparison.
Right.
But when you talk about like the colored community in South Africa, that speaks of a very distinct community, and that speaks of Lainey's husband, because anyone of mixed race is considered colored. And I was blown away by that, like finding out that information, because even I was like, whoa, what did you just call him? And I realized that I'm like, oh, they're describing biracial people. Lainey, so you guys have been married for 7 years. This is not the sum total of who you are, but being married for 7 years, has it gotten easier in those regards? Like, you know, has it, when you go home to visit him, or when you go home to your small town, have things gotten easier, or is it still kind of like a navigating, doing the best we can type of thing?
I think it's gotten better. So I don't dive into, okay, so like, I think that you want me to dive into how my family felt.
Yeah, hey, listen, it's up to you.
I get where you're trying to lead me.
Hold on, let me just
hit
the record button. Let me just hit the record.
So Daryl is not the first mixed man that I have been with. I actually tend to lean towards my brown men. I have a preference. In serious relationships, which is really interesting in my mind. My first fiance was actually mixed as well. He was Solomon Islander and American. So I also like guys who are foreign. I don't like Americans.
You heard it here first. Lainey hates America.
Men. Sorry, guys. So when I first brought him home, my parents, of course, are like anybody else. I'm not racist. Okay. Which I don't think that they are, but they definitely have racist tendencies, which I think a lot of people their age do have. Yeah, that's my face too. Don't worry about it. That's my face every time I bring, anyway. So they hated my first boyfriend. Also, actually, I kept him a secret for a really long time. I was like 19 when we started dating. I don't think that they found out that we were together until it got pretty serious. They kicked me out of my house. I ended up living with him in his father's home for several months. Then we moved into our own place with friends. Because my parents had an issue with, well, not only his color, but also because I tended to stay out until like 4 a.m. because I knew I couldn't bring him home.
It was a different time.
Mommy and daddy's house. Yeah, you know. So anyway, but it was definitely an interesting feeling. They, of course, learned to love him. And they respected the fact that he made me happy. And then when he started making me not happy, that was another story. When we broke up, I did end up dating a white guy. And then, you know the saying, once you go black, you never go back. Like,
oh, Lord.
But anyway.
But
I'm giggling. I'm sorry.
No, it's always totally okay. Here's the thing, though. No, it's not. It's not cringe. And see, this is the thing, right? I will fiercely defend the right for you to have your experience and for you to explain it the way you experienced it. If people don't like it, there's always the door, and you'll find another stream that's good for you. But here's the thing. I've heard you talk about him, your husband, in a way that I always find so respectful. And that's why I brought up the trauma thing, because when you were describing that night, what he went through in apartheid and like that time and era, I was just like, wow, this is a beautiful conversation. I wanted to give you another shout out for representing that way. And then this leads me into another thing. You're still technically on your stream break, which means we're getting deprived of content that you would be making, what type of content do you want to move back in? I'm not pushing you, but when you do decide to come back, what do you want to focus on next?
That's a really good question, because I feel like, especially here on Green Room, there's a big shift. So on Spoon, I felt like I could be just goofy, silly me. I'm not saying that I can't do that here on Green Room, but I did find that like I preferred more content driven streams rather than just go live and be stupid me. So I definitely want to bring back my advice streams, because they were always something that I really loved and enjoyed. I'm just afraid that it's going to hurt my mental again. So I'm going to do that very sparingly. Like once a month kind of thing. I'm also really excited to bring back my conspiracy theories and my alien chats.
Finally.
Yeah, I know y'all are waiting for it, aren't you? Like, I didn't think that you guys really liked hearing me talk about stupid conspiracy theories, but I guess you do.
Look, so when I heard that last stream when you went for 4 hours, and it was amazing, because you kept saying, I'm going to jump off now, and I could tell you were a little nervous, and then you started getting into your groove and you kept going. You brought up some of the alien talk, and I usually duck out on that stuff right away. I'm like, psychopaths. But you made it so riveting, and you were making fun, and you were also making valid points, and I'm looking forward to it. But I'm also looking forward to the advice stuff as well, because you're good at it. I know you don't want to take on the scope of being a mental health practitioner. You want to talk to people about very day-to-day life
Well,
situations.
the funny thing is that I actually almost went to school for psychiatry. Like really, like almost went to school for psychiatry. I was super excited about it, thought that this was it for me. And then I started spooning, and I'm like, oh, fuck that. I'm not doing that shit.
Like, I'm done.
But yeah, no, I'm done. I'm good. I'm literally the therapist. Like, if I were to be a therapist, I'm the therapist who needs a therapist, who needs another therapist, who needs a therapist on the side. Like, I'd be cheating on my therapist. Like,
I need a whole network to deal with me.
I need a whole ass network just to deal with my own mental issues while I'm helping other people with their mental issues. It would be bad. It would be bad.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's gonna be good, man. And that was another reason I wanted to bring you on. I will, reveal all my cards. I was hoping that this conversation, having you on the mic and having you in front of the mic would just be another opportunity to get you back into the groove. The game is it's a lacking. You bring a lot of spirit and a lot of conscious to it. I want to ask you one more question.
Sure.
I mean,
oh my God, are we already at an hour?
Yeah, we're already at an hour.
So that's my issue too. I could literally talk for like 4 hours.
Yes, you have a whole platform where you can do that. Actually, you have a whole platform. So here's my final question for you, Lainey. Mm-hmm. In a world where everyone wants to be Insta famous, everyone wants to be the next TikTok, viral, YouTube, IG, myself included. I'm waiting for my viral moment, but I know it's probably going to be some controversy I'm mixed up in with Mantis, and then I'll be locked up probably thereafter. What advice would you give to young ladies or otherwise stepping into the stream game, the advice giving game? What would you say?
Yeah, just be authentic. Nobody loves a fake. And I think that that's why a lot of people didn't make it on Spoon the way they wanted to be, because they were fake. Always be authentic. If you can't do something, step away. Even if somebody, especially if they're asking you for advice and you don't feel that you can give them the advice that they need, encourage them to talk to somebody else. I mean, my Discord has always been a great place for that. I have a big, beautiful community with safe spaces in there. So if you're feeling down, you can come and talk to us. But yeah, I think that being authentic, 100%, being true to yourself and true to your family, because I don't like the word fans, and I don't like the word friends. They're family. Right. And I've always been 100% on that. So always be true to your family and make sure that you're a safe space. Just be a safe space.
Lainey, it amazes me that you would ever be nervous doing something that comes so natural to you. And I don't know what it is about my show where people are like, I'm so nervous. I'm like, bro, you're making me feel like I'm doing something big over here. It's just me on my mic talking to people who are way more interesting to me. Lainey, did you have fun?
I had a great time.
Thank you so much for sparing your time with me. I know it's precious. I appreciate you. I usually like to let people close the show down with a turn of phrase or close it out in their way. So I'm going to let you do that right now.
Oh my God, I haven't done my turn of phrase in a long time. But yeah, I love you unconditionally. Guys, have a great night. Love yourself, love each other. Choo choo.
Well, I want to thank you so much, Lainey, for being here, bringing the love. Y'all keep hitting Lainey up. Anytime you see her in a stream, she will be participating, but don't let her leave unscathed. Ask her when her show is next, and we'll keep being there and waiting patiently. Folks, it's your boy Steve, real name, no gimmicks, conversations that matter, the home for the conversations that matter. I hope you folks know that I do appreciate you for being here. Shout out to everyone that's in the room right now, all 20 of you. You're all family, and I appreciate that. Make sure you come back at 10 p.m. Eastern. Spy on a Date is going live. The gladiators are ready. They're ready to get down and dirty. I'll see you then. See you soon.